Welcome back to another What Is video. This week we are not focusing on all the ape men, but just the differences between what is a Bigfoot and what is a Yeti. Alan will be talking more about the Yeti, and I'll be doing Bigfoot or Sasquatch or the wood ape. Now, they're both pretty similar in stature. They're both ape-like creatures that walk on two legs. But like when we were researching it just a few minutes ago, I mean, they really kind of have a couple differences.
Yeah,
First of all, in size, it seems like the Bigfoot or Sasquatch or wood ape is actually a little bit bigger. It ranges about 6'7" to about 9 feet and about 400 pounds. How big was the Yeti?
The Yeti was reported to be no more than 6 feet in height and 200 to 400 pounds, which actually surprised me because I always thought in my mind for some reason that the Yeti was always bigger.
Was the bigger one. Now, as far as what they look like, they're sort of similar. The Bigfoot is a large creature, ape-like. Its face is kind of flat. It has its head, its temple kind of goes in like this, which is similar to the Yeti. Dark in color, like a brown to a dark black, and its arms are longer proportioned than humans. Like where ours go down a little bit, below the waist, theirs go to below the knees. What does like the Yeti look like?
Now, the Yeti is kind of similar in build, a little bit shorter arms, a little bit shorter legs, a little more proportioned to like how we're proportioned. The face is also a little bit flatter, a broader nose. It doesn't have quite as big of a crest or a crown on the back of the skull as bad as the like the Bigfoot does, and it's always reported to almost always be white or a darker color with a white stripe, and it's always really shaggy looking hair from what I can find from what we'll call quote unquote reliable
sources.
Sightings. Yeah.
And so like the biggest sighting as far as the Sasquatch goes is definitely the Patterson Bigfoot footage, and that's clearly honestly the best footage of any ape man, period. And there's controversy. Some people say it's a hoax, and I know one of the people involved came out much later in life and said that he thought it was a hoax. But, from the video, it looks like maybe there is at least two in there, one male, one female. What's a kind of, bigger sighting for the Yeti?
Now, the Yeti, there were a couple big ones. One that really kind of stood out was in 1925. There was a expedition. It was led by a Greek
photographer.
Yeah, he was like a photographer, cinematographer type guy, and he was leading a group out there. And when he was on the Nepal side of Everest, which is where most of the climb attempts are made, are on the Nepal side, because in China you're not supposed to be over there. And so when they were out there doing this, one of the guides from Nepal pointed across at something and was showing him something moving across the snow line, and he gave a description that matched the Yeti, roughly 6 feet tall, 300 pounds, 350 pounds. And today that has been one of the most significant Yeti stories that have had
really
enough backbone to it that was something we could sink our teeth into.
Yeah, and I know, a lot of these people try to debunk and try to give you guys logical explanations, which is good. We want logical explanations.
Absolutely.
And honestly, both are probably given the same. People think they're bears. North America, especially where most Bigfoot sightings are the Pacific Northwest, you see, black bears, and, sometimes a grizzly if it wanders down from Canada. And then I know in Asia you got the Asiatic black bear and the blue bear and stuff like that.
Right.
So, both, bears, as far as maybe prehistoric things, they say the Gigantopithecus, but that really doesn't match either description.
No, it doesn't.
Gigantopithecus is a prehistoric giant relative of the orangutan, so it's more like a 7-foot tall orangutan, which would probably be red in color, not black.
Right.
For what some people say would also be Neanderthals, like a surviving, like kind of clan of Neanderthal people, which Neanderthal skulls do sort of match what Bigfoots look like. So who never knows? I mean, it's kind of far-fetched.
Yeah.
I know some newer theories. We read a book called Bigfoot by Tom Burnett and Rob Riggs, and they said maybe they're interdimensional beings. You know, they have psychic powers, and we did a Paranormal Theories episode on that, so you can check that out. We'll put a link in the description. And I know there's been some kind of recent sightings. There was one actually in Colorado called the Estes Park Bigfoot, where, you know, someone in Estes Park actually going to the Stanley filmed, you know, something walking in the brush. We just also did a debunk for the Spain Yeti.
Yeah, and the one here in Estes Park actually looked a lot better. Even if it was a hoax, it looked like they put a little more effort into it than they did in Spain.
Yeah.
And again, going off of the description that we've been able to find of the Yeti, and the Yeti's widespread. It's not just in the Himalayan mountains like a lot of people think. Like, it's not just based in Nepal or China, places like that. So when we did see the one in Spain, it was kind of interesting. But in the video, this thing looks massive. Like, it's 12 feet tall, and that's just a little bit crazy for something that's supposed to be 6 feet and no more than 400 pounds.
And it looked very reminiscent of a Star Wars character, and we actually saw how a guy made his own costume like that, so we figured if he could do it, I mean, it might take time, but someone could do it also. We
actually talked about that in that very same Paranormal Theories episode, so if you haven't seen that yet, give that a look-see and check that out.
So, all in all, Yeti and the Bigfoot or Sasquatch, not the same creature, and honestly they sound like they might be different branches, because they're very similar but different in a way. It's kind of like a lion and a tiger. Right,
and kind of another way to look at it is, I mean, there's a bunch of different ape species, bipedal, humanoid type things in the cryptid realm,
which hopefully we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll try to get, you know, some more of these videos out for you guys, and if there's some that we don't mention or some that you want to see next, feel free to comment, leave that for us, and we'll try to get that out earlier. But kind of another way to look at it is almost, you know, like Keegan and I, we're both humans. You guys are humans, but, you know, he's Greek, I am Native. You could be African American or Chinese American. You know, whatever you are, we're all humans, but we're different species of human, if you will.
Yeah. And just like a lion or tiger, on the outside they look very different, but their skeletons are almost exactly the same.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean that hopefully gives you guys a good overview of kind of what they are, slight description of everything. And like we said, we'll try to get some more up. You know, America has two. They also have the Florida skunk ape, which is slightly different. I actually think it's smaller than the Sasquatch.
And it's usually kind of seen more down south, right?
And yeah, mostly in marshes, and it's really kind of has a stench.
Yeah.
And Sasquatch is seen all over America. They go, even back in Louisville, there were some Bigfoot sightings, and up here in Colorado, and the natives, indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest would talk about wild ape men and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to be confused with the giants of the East Coast, which will be a whole nother video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we'll give you guys some more stuff, maybe, hopefully even next week. But until next time.